Let's ham it up. Welcome to the pre-ride of Hamme. This was a really, really fun course, and I didn't pre-ride it very well, but I think it really came together for me in the race. So I have that going for me. Don't judge me. Apparently we're looking at the sky now. This is the start-finish straight, a pretty long pavement. We actually started the grid downhill, so we came ripping fast into this right-hand turn into some hard packed gravel that quickly transitioned into, I don't know, like tire tracks or something, and then we plunge into some mud. So I'm glad that I got a decent start because it meant I was able to stay into one of the more hard packed ruts there and not be forced into the middle. And then we come careening into this mud that sent a few people flying during the race. But with momentum and confidence, it was really sort of a non-issue, this mud here. And then we come into this sweeping left-hand turn through this grass, and it got a little bit more chewed up as pre-ride went on and as the men pre-rode. And so this little hill right here, though in pre-ride by the second lap, I was able to kick over it. It was definitely a run come race time. And then so you would run up the hill, mount at the top, clip in as you're going down, and then come onto this sweet little, I don't know, hard-packed area. It felt like it was raised because every time we're on an area like this that's not muddy, it's raised up as if it's like some sort of a dike or something. But I don't know, this was just a mysteriously not muddy area. And then we drop down a little bit and we're again in more mud. And right here, this is going to be pit 1 on our right. And already I'm going into the pits because, you know, actually, in fairness, I did a half lap before you even saw me here. So now after letting some tire pressure out, I'm at 17, 18 now, I think. Sorry, I don't know what that is in bar, people. This is in PSI because I'm American. So a little bit lower tire pressure, and I'm able to plow through this mud. A lot of people stuck left and then ran the turn and ran up this hill. And though I did end up running that hill, because, I mean, you see how graceful I was able to do that in pre-ride. But in the race, I did run it. I rode the outside of the turn and was able to hold a lot of momentum into the hill. And now back on this raised area, maybe that's water to the right. So this is raised and that's why it's not muddy. I don't know. Like, my geography when I'm on the course is just complete crap. I have no idea where I am. So here, sweeping left-hand turn, obviously people are stopped here because there's something to look at. You go downhill and you pump up through this ditch, or you do what I do and you ride down into the ditch and then you just awkwardly stand there and you get stuck because I didn't pre-ride with toe spikes and I put my feet down and I immediately got stuck in the mud. So I'm going to stand here for a while and watch other people go through. This was a little section that a lot of people were sessioning, and I think once I was able to go through and pedal out, but by the time the race hit, everybody was running it. I watched the men's race, and a lot of the men were running it, except for a named person who I saw ride it. Hopping back on the bike to give it another try. I mean, I don't know why. I guess maybe just to see if I have confidence to like pedal down into something. Look, I don't know if I pedaled. I'm calling that a ride. I'm saying I rode that. I think I did put a foot down though. And then you ride up this little thing, back down, sweeping right-hand turn, and then climb this. But there was no way, even in pre-ride, I was going to give this thing another attempt. It was just too slick, too steep, a bit off camber, not much speed going into it. So in the race, from the time you're going down into the ditch, you're running all the way to the top of that little peak. And then you hop on. And again, it's miraculously not muddy here. Another little up down there, then you're back onto this hard packed fast surface that I think is at the same elevation as the muddy spots. I don't know. I'm a geologist. You think I would have a better appreciation for the ground situations here, but I just don't. And here, another random muddy section, but there was one dry line on the left, and pretty much everyone took that line. If you didn't take that line, you weren't making any headway, so I don't know what you were doing. Now we're coming into my least favorite part of the course, which is extremely flat and just sort of, I don't know, very slippery. It's like somebody came through and just wiped slick snot all over the ground. And then they were like, here guys, ride on this. Like looking at it from this point of view, it looks like I'm maybe taking these turns at not a very slow rate of speed. But let me tell you guys, in the race, there was a point in which I thought I would be faster if I were to get on my hands and knees and just drag my bike behind me. So this turn right here, I just took the outside line and it was rideable, but a lot of people passed me by running tight. So I think my last lap, I guarded the inside against passes by dismounting and running that. But I mean, nothing really helped me for the slickness. So this little section right here, that little climb, I felt like I was running it pretty fast, but I was never able to run it that fast in the race because it got more slick and I didn't have any speed going into it. And I think Ellen Van Looy and Manon Bakker were both riding those stairs. And I mean, more power to you ladies, you do you, but again, I'm not trying to be a hero. I knew if I even tried, it would be super embarrassing. And though I'm usually okay with embarrassment, at the risk of flattening my tubulars, I just went ahead and walked up them their little stairs. So these turns, again, still really slick. And this little climb right here, I think I popped off, yeah, and I'm running it here. I did end up riding it, and I was like, oh, turns out if you just try hard, you're able to ride it. But I ended up running it in the race anyways. I think I was near Ellen Van Looy, who was still riding it, but in order to set up for the ride to get enough momentum to go up, you had to take the turn a bit wider and kind of slowed you up to set up for it. So it's the same speed and much more consistent to just go ahead and run it. But it's crazy. The men could be at a track stand at the bottom and then just power up it and just grind the earth away. So now we're hopping over a curb. Like that's as much of a bunny hop as I get. And I'm peeking at the camera here. Here we have the barriers. I feel like we don't see barriers in every race, so this is exciting. You got to see me dismount and remount. But again, yeah, watching the men race, it is crazy. Do you know how much power they have? They have like a lot of power. It is disgusting. I don't know. It's not human, the things that they can do. So we're on this sort of double tracky section of the course, a dry line to the left there, bringing us into this pretty fast corner. And then this ripping downhill, you stick that rut there, and now you're running low, and you see off to the left, there's an off camber, and we're going to be coming back towards us on that side. Set up wide for the turn here, and turn. I was always not sure if I should be riding the high line or the low line. A lot of people ended up high and then they dropped low for the right-hand turn off of the off camber. And that's what I'm going to do here, drop low and make the turn. And obviously I failed miserably at making the turn. But the good news is I didn't need to be able to ride it well because everyone was running it in the race. But I can be a hero, baby. And I'm going to try again. Because, again, I guess I like embarrassing myself. So attempt 2 at this corner. And look at that, I still didn't make it. I'm so funny when I think I can do things. I didn't see too many people ride that corner successfully. It's pretty steep, and it gets, you're already starting towards the inside of the turn, and it's pretty steep, and it's slick, and it's not like you have a ton of speed. And now I'm stopping to watch other people not make that turn just to like stroke my own ego of like, oh, look, you don't suck too bad. Now getting going again. We're going to drop off this off camber with a right hand turn, and we're setting up to enter a really cool part of the course, but we have one section of mud to slog through before we get there. You can see it's already kind of woody right here. I mean, I guess we've kind of been through some woods, but I didn't really care then because I just knew that I was going to be going to like up-de-doos and some sloggy mud, so it was all sort of the same to me. But these woods signified the cool woods were still to come. So there, a little chicane action through some trees. Not many roots. There was like maybe one root there. In the US, I feel like that would have just been a gnarly root system, and you just had to like hop from hole to hole to avoid flatting. But here, I mean, you could just go through it a pretty decent clip and not really have to worry about pinch flatting. And now this is going to be pit 2 on our right, and we're slogging through this mud. And this is always, oh no, apparently I'm going to go into the pit. Did another tire pressure change, but after you exit the pit, you're going to make a left-hand turn and keep slogging through the mud here. And you have a pond, lake, river, some sort of body of water to your right. And the slog fest ends, and you get on this nice hard-packed little track here to swoop around this yet unnamed body of water. And you head for the ducky, make a left at the ducky, and you will go through a nice little hard-packed section here. It's like kind of gravelly. I don't really know. It was a non-issue, so I didn't really care what the surface was like. And now you get to enter what I think might be a more iconic part of the course. I actually had no idea where I was racing. I'd never done this course before, and I had no idea where I was racing until I got in here. And I was like, oh, I remember seeing this on TV. Look at me. It's like I'm famous now. It's just this cool little flowy section through the woods. I guess this area is normally like a mountain bike area. I don't know why anybody would need a mountain bike to ride here, but you do you, Belgium. You do you. So again, these are just sort of off camber, I don't know, just undulating turns. They're just really cool. You guys should all pack up your bikes and fly to Belgium and just ride this little section of this really weird cyclocross course because it's pretty awesome. So swooping left-hand turn here, I stayed in that outside rut and I felt like it was nice to sort of hold my speed there. A lot of people choked it up on the inside, but I always exited too wide and got stuck in the mud. So I just stayed wide and held my momentum through it. And just, swooping here, it was really nice to be able to hold your momentum and go high and then gain a lot of speed as you're exiting the downhills. And I don't know, I thought I was kind of flowing through the turns. It flowed better in the race. And here I just slowed down to give the rider in front of me a little bit of room because I didn't know how steep this hill was and I didn't know if she was going to be able to ride it or not. But it turns out that it wasn't that steep, but joke's on me because I could barely ride it. Shifting, how does it work? And now with that right-hand turn, after that little push, you can see we are back on pavement, which if you are good at guessing things, you can guess that we are done with our lap. We're back on the start-finish straight. The start grade's behind us, and the finish is going to be somewhere up ahead. And we're going to continue on with a right-hand turn back into some sloggy mud. But I'm not going to make you endure that because, I care about you. So go do something fun with your life. I know I'm going to, which is racing again tomorrow. Woohoo! Thanks for joining.